News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Horror and sorrow and anger and rage as two more of Joe Biden's illegals are arrested for raping and or murdering beautiful folks, beautiful United States citizens, including a Maryland woman who had the audacity to go on a jog and stay in shape. She was on her jogging junket when an illegal who has been deported multiple times but came back in under Joe Biden's porous border due to the fact that he's letting in 2 to 3 million at least, not including the gotaways. Then you're adding another 1 million a year roughly. So we're looking at 3 to 4 million a year that are coming in. And the Border Patrol is so overwhelmed with stamping and approving people without doing any background checks that one of these two accused murder rapists got in after being ordered to leave in the United States and came back in and saw a woman, a beautiful woman with 5 kids, and he liked what he saw and he wanted to take it. And he's accused of raping that woman and then brutally murdering her in the same manner that Laken Riley was murdered from another of Joe Biden's illegals that was let in the past 2 or 3 years. Bashing her skull and to the point her mother says that she's unrecognizable. The attorney for the family, the mother doesn't want to get political. I understand that. The attorney for the family does blame Joe Biden unequivocally. And I'll read you some of his quotes on that later. And then we have a separate case days later. By the way, the illegal that is accused of murdering this beautiful mother from Maryland on a jog, he was also arrested previously with a home invasion in Los Angeles where he attacked a woman and a child and was freed and allowed to continue to do the job. And then you have this separate case of another illegal. Both these guys are suspected gang members from El Salvador. This illegal in New York City was ordered to leave in 2022, but he applied for, likely the New York Post says, applied for some form of relief or appealed the removal ruling to remain in the U.S. Joe Biden's like, of course you can stay. I want you to rape one of our 13-year-old girls, and he did that. So he is accused, this other illegal is accused of having a machete-style knife, seeing a 13-year-old girl and a 13-year-old boy in a New York City park. I believe this may have been the park that I was at when I was there in the fall for our dear, sweet friend whose son lost his life tragically at 15 years of age. It was we went there to love our friends and their family. They're from Queens, and the after funeral processions and everything, we went to a park in Queens right by the Mets and where the U.S. Open was played or has been played. And guess what? That's the park where this 13-year-old in that area was walking a girl with a 13-year-old boy because it's summertime and they were together with a boy and a girl, so that should be safety. But it wasn't. The illegal saw that little girl and said, I'm going to rape her. And he produced his machete-style knife. He ordered the 13-year-old boy and girl to stop and surrender, and he tied them up with shoelaces, and he raped the 13-year-old girl right there, forever destroying this young lady's purity and feelings and her emotions and her well-being, as well as the 13-year-old boy. And this illegal that Joe Biden brought in, these are both Joe Biden's illegals raping and killing us again in the past week. This Joe Biden illegal ran, however, a neighborhood man they identified him, they had it out everywhere, and they identified him, and a neighborhood man saw him and tackled him. He waited for him outside of a sandwich shop that he knew he frequented. He literally waited for him. And he waited till 1 a.m. when he saw this guy. He let him go in, buy it, and then he just tackled the crap out of him. They tied him up with a belt. I'll play you that hero's audio from Queens where this all went down. This is the second illegal raping and murdering people in that same county in Maryland. This is the umpteenth rape murder of one of our women and girls in New York City. And these are all Joe Biden's illegals, and they're all being stamped. And some of the people I just mentioned that are accused and have been arrested for raping this girl and this woman and killing her, they have rap sheets back in El Salvador, but they weren't checked properly, and they can't figure it out because at the border, Joe Biden's he's going stamp, go through, stamp, go through, stamp, go through, and they're not checking anything or anybody. So they all pass the checks, they get in, they're fine. I have questions for you. We also hear that a Chinese cyber police agent is running an online network helping the illegals to flood into the United States, according to the Daily Caller report yesterday. We also see, according to our CIA, a former CIA chief and expert, as well as our current FBI director, the U.S. faces a serious threat of terror attack. All this is in the form of his illegals, that the Uzbeki and Tajiki illegals that have come in and been rounded up and caught or allowed in for a year or two. Then, so with planning to bomb us like a Boston-style marathon bombing, like what was done before. So my questions are: do you feel that your wife or daughter could be next? Do you feel that your wife or your daughter could be next, the next victim of one of Joe Biden's illegals raping your wife or your daughter, or murdering them and raping them? Do you feel safe with millions of Joe Biden's illegals all over this country and in North Texas, too, undoubtedly? And do you support Joe Biden's plans that just were released today to give 500,000 illegals amnesty and citizenship? And is this a vote-buying scheme to you, as it is to me? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. That's 800-288-WBAP. I think it is very normal for you to feel that your wife or your daughter could be next. There's just no question. It's happening all over the country. And as President Trump said in his speech earlier today, 72% of crime has gone down 72% in Venezuela. And Bloomberg News reported it's the lowest number of criminal attacks and murders in like 19 years. And it's because Venezuela has cleared out its prisons and its criminals have all been flushed out of Venezuela. And they've been sent here, and they're raping and murdering us, and they're stealing from us, they're robbing us, they're beating us, they're terrorizing us. It's happened in Georgia, it's happened in Maryland, it's happened in Louisiana, it has happened in Miami, it has happened in Los Angeles and in New York and in Chicago. There is no end, and no place is exempt. The mother of the sweet woman who was murdered, the mother of the mother of five, beautiful blonde woman that was murdered in Maryland for being out and jogging by one of Joe Biden's illegals. The mom said, we are 1,200 miles from the border, and it is here. How could you and I not think it's not here, which is much closer to the border? And as far as supporting, and I'll play a cut from Joe Biden coming up next on the Chris Crock Show about his plan to give 500,000 illegals amnesty and citizenship. It is a vote-buying scheme, and I don't want anything. I don't care how long some illegal who's married to a citizen has been here for, or how many kids they've popped out as anchor babies. I don't want anything given to anyone on anything that are illegal immigrants or illegals or illegal migrants, whatever you want to call them, criminal invaders, until our wall is built and until this invasion is stopped and every one of these illegals that Joe Biden has led in this country is freaking Get the heck out of here. They need to be deported forcefully out of this country. All of them. All of them. And 56% of Americans support that mass deportation. Wait till you hear what Joe Biden said about that. That's coming up next. I've got the audio from today. And I don't know if you heard about Governor Abbott's top 10 most wanted illegals in Texas. He just bagged the number one guy. And wait till you hear what the Texas Democrat Party was saying about it. And a hint, they didn't agree with it, but it worked. That's next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP. Lines wide open. Chime in right now. Do you feel that your wife or your daughter could be next in an attack from an illegal that Joe Biden has let in? And do you feel safe with millions of his illegals all over the country and in North Texas, too? And do you support Biden's plan to give 500,000 illegals amnesty and citizenship? And is it a vote-buying scheme like it is to me, to you? All right, all that's next to the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
We have to acknowledge that the patience and goodwill of the American people is being tested by the fears at the border. They don't understand a lot of it. These are the fears my predecessors trying to play on. When he was president, he separated families and children at the border. And now he's proposing to rip spouses and children from their families and homes and communities and place them in detention camps.
So the man arrested for tying up the 13-year-old boy and girl and raping the 13-year-old in New York City came to our country illegally with a 3-year-old boy. Should we rip apart that family, or do you want to keep them together so we could rape and kill more of us? That's who Joe Biden cares about. He doesn't want to rip up the families of people that rape us, that murder us, while the families of United States Americans, civilians, citizens, are being broken up. Do you think the murder of a mom of 5 is maybe breaking up that family, Joe? Do you think Laken Riley's family's been broken up, ripped apart from each other? But at least the illegals we catch and we put in cages, if you want to call it that, they're not, but that's, in detention camps, as he alleges. Do you think that? Do you think that we should be worried about ripping their families apart while they rip apart our families? It's just unbelievable. He literally has the exact opposite view of what he should have. He's more worried about illegals raping us and killing us and tearing apart their families than he is us and our families. And these illegals, at least when they're separated, they can see each other again one day. Ours can't, that are raped, murdered, and everything. Ours cannot. Ours are irrevocably broken. And that's what he does not care about. This is vile. Yeah, the woman raped, the mom of 5's ripped body in Maryland raped. They found signs of severe trauma. She was naked, and her family said it appeared her head had been smashed in with a rock. All right, so, it just never ends. These two guys with the 13-year-old rape and the murder of the mom and rape, they are both accused gang members as well from El Salvador. And we don't want to rip apart their families. In the meantime, here's the hero. By the way, our number and my questions for you are this. Do you feel your daughter or your wife could be next? Do you feel safe with millions of Joe Biden's illegals all over this country and in North Texas, too? And do you support Biden's plans on this day as we find out about more arrests and more illegals raping and murdering? Do you support Joe Biden's plans to give 500,000 illegals amnesty and citizenship? Or is it just simply naked vote buying to you as it is to me? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Here's the hero. Chime in right now, by the way. Line's wide open for you at 800-288-WBAP. Here's the hero who tackled the illegal, waited outside of a sandwich shop that he knows he frequents at, and saw him at 1 a.m. go in, and he tackled him when he came out. And I'm going to read what he says in real time while I play it, because it's a little hard to understand, I believe. Let me go to that first. Here's our hero. Okay, here he is. Maybe. Hold on. A little technical issue here. Okay, here he is.
Take him out, and I told everybody, yo, this is the rapist, I punched him, I kicked him a little bit, I ain't gonna lie.
I punched him, I kicked him a little bit, I ain't gonna lie, I like that. That's it. What'd you do?
What'd you say to him?
Yeah.
Nothing, I ain't saying nothing to him. I'm always quiet when I see new people that I really don't know, you feel me? Like, I recognize you when you come around here, I'm like, hold up, you're like, son.
That's a little hard to understand, isn't it? I recognize him when I see people around. I said, hold up, but I already knew.
But I already knew it was him since he was coming down this block. I already knew it was him.
Did he say anything to you?
Nope.
Nothing at all?
He didn't see it coming.
He didn't deny it? He didn't
deny. He was like, oh, he started yelling, help, help, help in Spanish. I'm like, yeah, that's what the little girls were saying. And
all right, did you hear that? He said, I heard he yelled, help, 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 while he was beating him up and tying him down. He says, I told him that's what the little girl said while you were doing that to her. Amen. Amen.
Deny it. I said, they already got your ass. He's like, yeah, I know. And he just surrendered and gave up.
Wow. Yeah. So describe that takedown. I mean, it's not even that I'm big. It's just, you feel me? I got 2 little sisters, and I'm about to have a daughter. So it's like, for me, it did not sit right. Either way, if I didn't have 2 little sisters, I was about to have a daughter. It's still not right.
Still not right. I'm about to have a daughter, blah, blah, blah. He's got this massive kid in play hair that's flying all over the place. And he might be somebody that you see on the streets you're a little scared of. But even that man right there fully understands right and wrong and justice. And he was used as an instrument to bring this sick, wicked monster illegal that Joe Biden let in to justice. And I'm proud of him, and I'm happy that he did that work. That's good work. Here's when the illegal was arrested on the perp walk, people screaming at him in Spanish and other stuffs. All right, so there we go. And by the way, Democrats attacked Governor Abbott's top 10 fugitives. He did a top 10 illegal fugitives list. He published it and everything. And Congressman Greg Casar from Austin, liberal Democrat, said Abbott's most wanted illegal immigrants list is kind of stunt that boosts anti-immigrant sentiment and is intended to distract from Abbott's broader agenda that fails Texans. Abbott's trying to drum up the latest fear-mongering tactic against some of the most vulnerable group, he said. See, he cares about these illegals. Guess what? The top violator of them all on the top 10 list, Victor Hugo Gonzalez, the state's top fugitive, arrested and taken into Tarrant County Jail, right here in our backyards. It is here. It's among us. We're next. Gonzalez, 38, faced charges including assault, aggravated sexual assault of a child, and driving while intoxicated with a child, dating back to 2016. He's cuffed and stuffed. No thanks to Texas Democrats who wanted to stop it and said it was wrong to do what Governor Abbott did. Good job, Governor Abbott. All right. I wanted to get into this one coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Secret Service and the commander, the biting dog, Joe Biden's dog, documents released on it and so much more. This was bad. What this dog was doing was bad. And I want to talk to you about what that means about the dog, what it says about the dog, what it says about the owner of the dog. That's next. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. The Secret Service, it turns out, has destroyed all the evidence of the video of Joe Biden's dog attacking Secret Service agents so hard. He ran at the Secret Service agent at full speed, attacked him, leaving a deep bite, the Secret Service incident documentation says, leaving a deep bite on the individual's left arm and reportedly needed stitches. The East Wing tours were stopped for 20 minutes due to blood from the incident being on the floors in the area of the booksellers. The message continued, talking about a room that's just inside from the garden. The Secret Service FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, the officer in a letter Friday said, due to Secret Service retention standards, the above-mentioned files have been destroyed. Are you surprised that they destroyed the video of Joe Biden's dog literally running across the room and attacking Secret Service agents so badly that the blood was all over the floor that they had to shut down the tours for 20 minutes while they cleaned out blood on the floors? Daily Mail, this is from an exclusive in the Daily Mail today. They also obtained a photo of Commander jumping up and appearing to bite a White House groundskeeper. There are also 25 documented Commander attacks, more from the Biden's previous rescue of their German Shepherd Major. In the weeks leading up to the June 15th attack, Commander was again being let off the leash. Just for situational awareness, it seems we're back to the canine being let off the leash to roam the grounds freely, said one Secret Service agent. Tonight, we had the team on the roadway for evening sweep. When the dog was brought out, the canine ran directly south and bounced between us techs. No one was bitten. It's just a matter of time before it happens. There was an agent that said, in all seriousness, standing tall and yelling his name and stop is your best bet to not get bit. Then several days later, the agent warned those staffing Camp David that Commander is either out or gets let out of the house on his own off leash. At the same time, Secret Service asking all of its employees if they'd ever been bitten by Biden's dog in order to create a record of the attacks. They were compiling a spreadsheet of all the incidents involving the dog. The emails also detailed another attack at the Kennedy Garden, this one with Joe Biden in tow. September 12th, 2023, Biden had a leashed Commander headed outside to the Kennedy Garden for a walk. Biden opened the outside door to say something to the agent when the assault occurred. As I started to walk toward him to see if he needed help, Commander ran through his legs, bit my left arm through the front of my jacket. I pulled my arm away and yelled no. POTUS also yelled to Commander. POTUS then did something that's been redacted. I obliged and Commander let me pet him. When turning to close the door, Commander jumped again and bit my left arm for the second time. My gosh! There was a dog bite. Hold on. And let's see. POTUS again yelled at the Commander and attached the leash to him. His suit coat had 3 holes in it from the attack, no skin broken. A different Commander attack in September. Sergeant with Secret Service flagged to colleague. FYI, there was a dog bite and the officer may need to go to the hospital, have a safe shift. A dog bite and had to go to the hospital. I mean, do you see this? Commander was given to the President and First Lady after their rescued German Shepherd Major was removed from the house for biting Secret Service agents. Here's my questions. 25 bite attacks on Secret Service agents from one dog. What does this say about Commander's owner, Joe Biden? I'll say owners, Joe and Jill Biden, right? Joe and not a Dr. Jill Biden. What does this say about Commander's owners? And what does this say about Commander? Those who know, those who train dogs, those who have dogs, maybe you have a German Shepherd, maybe you have a rescue. What does this say to you about Commander's owners, Joe and not a Dr. Jill Biden? And what does this say about Commander himself? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Chime in right now. Lines wide open for you. This is from one of the commenters on this Daily Mail exclusive story. I've trained my dogs. Many dogs, he says, over 30 plus years, and this is all down to the owner not making a bond through training. The Bidens have gone through now 2 German Shepherds, Major and Commander, both exhibited the same types of behaviors. So I'm not an expert. I have a little dog, but I do believe it comes down to the owners. But I also believe that certain breeds are just more aggressive, like pit bulls I can't stand. But I want to speak specifically of this case with the Bidens. What does this say to you about Commander's owners, Joe and Jill Biden? To me, it says they're not taking the time to train the dog. They're not doing their due diligence to make sure the dog is right for them and the situation for them. They're putting the dog in jeopardy. I mean, if this is any normal situation and somebody's armed, you can shoot and kill that dog if it's attacking you. Now, in Texas law, it's silent if a dog is going to attack you or is attacking you, because they don't want to give a license to people to shoot and kill Fluffy, and then just say, well, he's about to attack me. But if the dog is attacking your livestock or your pet, you can shoot it and kill it lawfully in Texas. That is in the law. But as far as you, make sure you hit the thing and make sure it's really attacking you, because if you don't, you can get big trouble. If you don't hit it, you're going to get arrested for firing a weapon illegally, and there's no one you shot, nothing is shot. But this says to me, and again, I'm not a dog expert by any stretch of the imagination here, but this says to me that you have irresponsible owners who are unwilling to really evaluate the dog, unwilling to evaluate the situation they're putting the dog in the White House, and unwilling to train the dog properly. And then it also tells me that the Bidens are really selfish in this regard, because why didn't they think about the people? I mean, they don't live in a private home. So if it's a private home, all bets are off as long as the dog doesn't get loose and attack somebody else, an innocent person that is outside of the house walking by or something like that, or the mailman. So, but as far as, so this tells me several things. The Bidens are not considerate. They do not seem to care, as displayed by 25 attacks from one dog before they get rid of it. I mean, how many attacks would it take for you to remove the dog from the situation? Have it at the one of your 2 Biden homes in Delaware, right? Keep it out of that, away from the White House. What's wrong with you? And why would you put the Secret Service in jeopardy like that? Why would you? Wouldn't you care about the people that are protecting you and their well-being and their emotional well-being? How would you feel? You and I have been to jobs over the years that are like toxic, or you're always miserable when you're there, and you're always fearful on your way there, or, and when you get out, you're like, thank God, this, you got stories every day of how bad things are. This is one of those things. They're literally like torturing the Secret Service agents. They can't shoot the dog. I mean, I guess they could. I'm going to guess they would lose their job if they did, at the insistence of the Bidens, while it attacks you with blood all over the floor. So I think it's very selfish, and I think they're poor owners. And I think they should have protected the people over their stupid dog for all these things. And they didn't put the training into it. And if they did, and they still realize it's not going to work, then you got to adopt the dog to somebody else. It's that simple. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, shocks the conscious. A federal magistrate is chastising a superintendent in the Waco area school, in a Waco area school district, Lorena, Texas. The principal is being chastised, by this federal magistrate for literally not taking any action on serious, disgusting sexual abuse allegations of little children, little girls, in a school district in Central Texas. This family has fled while they filed suit against the school district, the principal, et al. They now live in Collin County, this beautiful, precious girl who was sexually abused, according to her parents and according to this lawsuit. You're going to hear about that. I'm also going to tie in the North Texas mega pastor, Robert Morris from Gateway Church, who just resigned today because of an admitted crime of sexually assaulting a 12-year-old girl in the 80s. It's a big deal. We'll get to all that coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Coming up at 9, the Associated Press is fact-checking whether or not Biden froze up at a fundraiser. And the media parrots the following morning today what KJP said yesterday, that these are cheap fakes. It's not real what you're seeing when he freezes up. It's somehow digitally altered. It's just not real. Who knew there was another way of saying something about faking it? And it's a cheap fake. So you have been deceived. Joe's fine. And it's all a lie. All right. That'll be interesting to talk about coming up at 9 o'clock. In the meantime, 2 big stories about children being molested or raped. And one of them comes from Lorena ISD in Waco. And the parents have now moved up here to Collin County of the alleged victim, I believe strongly it's a victim, but of the little girl. A federal magistrate. What's happening is the family is suing the district, the principal, because they did not take action. In fact, they seem to have obfuscated and covered up direct sexual abuse of a sweet little girl who was like 5 years old, who then he victimized another person according to these charges. So what happens here is the principal stands accused of hiding everything, doing nothing, even though there were pictures of disgusting things you'll hear about in a moment. And there were teachers who reported this, saying this guy is doing vile things with girls We haven't seen direct vile things. We've seen highly red flag inappropriate things that show this guy cannot be a teacher, must be investigated, should be pulled. He's a longtime substitute teacher in that area. And a blistering 15-page report was released by a federal judge, the federal magistrate in Waco, refusing to toss the case out. You know what qualified immunity is, where you can't sue a government official? And this judge determined that the constitutional rights of this little girl were violated by the principal, and therefore she is not shielded by qualified immunity. She can be personally sued, her school can be sued, the district can be sued, because you violated a little girl's constitutional rights. The judge said it was a lack of executive action in the 15-page blistering report, according to KWTX affiliate in Middle Texas, there in North Central Texas or whatever, in Waco. Lack of executive action. It shocks the conscience, the judge says. Parents of the child since moved to Collin County, and the long-term substitute teacher there pleaded guilty in May of last year to 5 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a young child, 1 count of continuous sexual abuse of a young child, 1 count of indecency with a child by contact of sexual abuse of the girl who was 5 at the time, and her 4-year-old female classmate. 2 girls raped by this man. The employees in the lawsuit, quote, knew from their observations multiple employees' credible complaints about his inappropriate actions with the girl, photographic evidence that he routinely laid down under a blanket with the girl during nap time, had her straddle him while he was lying down, placed her on his lap, dressed her in his clothing, isolated her in a classroom behind locked doors, was otherwise obsessed with the young child. At the same time, school officials knew that the girls had complained about vaginal and stomach pain, a 5-year-old girl. And this principal did, I want to scream and I want to pound my fist, nothing to protect that little child. The girl suffers from PTSD, physical pain, anxiety, fear, and distrust of others. I'll give you more details in a second. We also have the famed, and I've never heard anything bad about him, nothing but great stuff and praise, Robert Morris Gateway Church. Has now resigned his position at Gateway, a mega church, and out of South Lake. He has resigned because he admitted to having sexual relations with a 12-year-old girl when he was in his 20s. And he admitted it. It happened for apparently like 4 years. In 82 to 86. The girl was 16 at the time it ended, and the parents found out. I think the girl told the parents, and he confessed. He admitted it back then. He was married. He was in his 20s. He confessed. The church dealt with it, and the church said either you come in and you get disciplined by us, or you will call the cops. Take your pick. They should have done both, because that's rape of a child, a minor. They didn't. Shame on that church. And this disqualifies him from pastoral of anything, in my opinion. And he stepped down, but for 24 hours when it came out, he was going to stay. And on these 2 things, I have questions. Do you think this principal should be criminally charged for her apparent refusal to report this to the police and notify the parents and protect the student? I do. I think she should be charged. Number 2, do you think this pastor from Robert Morris from South Lake Church, it's painful to say it, but South Lake's Gateway Church, do you think he should be criminally charged for sexually assaulting, raping a 12-year-old girl, or abusing her in some way? He didn't claim to have sex with her, but he did a lot of the stuff 40 years ago. Should he still face criminal charges even after he admitted to it and was, quote, disciplined by his church when it happened in the 80s? Yes, he should be criminally charged for what he did. You can run and you can hide and you can raise up an amazing church, but it was on illegitimate grounds. It is on a false foundation. Yes, you should be criminally charged. By the way, Texas law has no statute of limitations on this. He should be charged. Number 2, and the woman spoke it out, her face and everything. She did an interview with WFA. I've got some audio of it. I'll play it for you. I think both the principal should be charged for not reporting it, criminally charged. She should be sued to the hilt. She should be destroyed. She should lose her teaching license. She should never work in a school district again. This pastor should have been removed and never been in the pastoral. Since that happened in the 80s, he forfeited it, and he should be criminally charged. charged. This is not me getting a pound of flesh. This is justice, and this is what justice demands. We must hold leaders in our communities accountable, and they must face their actions for what they've done. They all should be criminally charged, both of them. What say you? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. No mercy and no quarter to people who do this, even if they admit it. Once they face justice and it's meted out after that, by all means, move on with your life. And you should forgive people who do this to you, not because you're forgetting it, not because they're not facing justice, but because forgiveness is letting them off of your hook and letting them be on God's hook. Period. That's it. But criminal charges, yes, they should be treated just like anybody else. You covered up abuse or you abused, you go to jail. And we have laws that say if you don't report this stuff to CPS and to the police, you go to jail. And that's where this principal belongs. She belongs in jail. Any pensions, any retirement documents, gone, forfeited. Jail's where she belongs. You're sick, and you're wicked, and you're evil. And the other teachers saw it and reported it, and you did nothing. And the other teachers that saw it and reported it should have reported to the cops. You don't wait around when you see this crap. When you see a red flag, you report it to the cops. Period. Protect our kids. Don't let them be raped. I'm so angry. I'm sorry. Josh in Grapevine, you're a church member, I believe. Is that what he says? At Grapevine? Oh, the church. He thinks the church mishandled it. We'll hear from him next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Plus your call, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227.